What's a total waste of money yet people still pay for? Before we start with the first story, please hit subscribe and ring the notification bell to stay updated with us. Story 1. Extended warranty on inexpensive items. Back in 2005, I worked at Radio Shack. We used to have these rather nice $30 headphones. We also offered a $3 warranty for them that nobody ever bought, except for the super savvy. With the headphone warranty, we literally replaced them right then and there, no questions asked. If we had it in stock, we'd go pull it from the hook, scan it, mark as warranty replacement, and put in the number needed. Smart people came in and swapped out their headphones every 2 to 3 months. Slightly fraying wire? Replacement. Headphone cushion discoloration? Replacement. Volume was too loud and is tinny sounding? Replacement. We didn't test or give a crap. Just replaced and broke the old ones to ensure they were really warranty worthy. Maybe that's why Radio Shack couldn't survive. Their warranty was rather good, and I got 30 commission if I sold one. Story 2. Internet service providers that still don't offer unlimited data plans. I recall going to Australia in 2017 and finding out how hotels and even households did not have unlimited internet at home. And the amounts of data they had per month was insanely low, like 100 gigabytes a month for home internet. And hotels would give you 1 gigabyte of internet per day. It sounds like an okay amount, but you can forget about YouTube or Netflix with those amounts, which were perfectly normal things for me in the Netherlands already at that time. Story 3. Scientology. Had a old school friend visit recently, not really seen him since school. I never knew his parents were into that cult. We stayed in touch via social media, email and stuff, but this was the first time we've actually sat down and talked face to face in years. I was taken aback by what he said. School was his escape. He told me his mom was convinced the neighbors across the street had a listening device they were using to spy on them. They had cut themselves off from their extended family, and yeah, dude did not have an easy childhood. I remember his dad being a bit odd and would lose his crap over the most trivial. But at the time, I never knew the extent of it until his recent visit. Both his parents are gone now, and he's reconnected with some of his extended family, which is great. He's a lovely guy and deserves some happiness, but even now you can tell that crap still hangs over him. Story 4. Extended warranties on something like a small appliance under $200. It is exchangeable at the store during its original warranty, and the amount of jacking around and possibly shipping charges or service fee is not even worth it, and good luck getting them to honor the warranty. I've had 2 SquareTrade warranties I've tried to use, and they make the process a nightmare. Then they just completely ignore you, or say the paperwork was submitted incorrectly until the warranty period is up, so you're screwed. I get annoyed with the lies told about the extended warranty, for example 3 years, which is really 2 years because the first year was covered by the manufacturer and the purchase price. Story 5. The money people send to celebrity preachers. I don't know how these people maintain a congregation. I'm not even religious but did go to Catholic school, and I don't see how anyone who ever read the Bible could fall prey to prosperity preachers and millionaire grifters who run a church as a business. The Jesus of the Bible said that it is easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God, and went ham on the merchants and moneylenders at the temple, accusing them of turning it into a den of thieves. America is wild for this. I saw a prosperity preacher asked about the contradictions between his conspicuous display of wealth, e.g., preacher's swanky clothing versus Jesus' actual teachings. Quotes Bible re: a rich man has less chance entering the kingdom of heaven than a camel has passing through the eye of a needle. Straight-faced preacher says his parishioners insist he emulate the Lord Jesus, because Jesus also wore fine linen. Story 6. Annually replacing a smartphone. Marketing is really good at selling people stuff they didn't know they needed before. But as a tech-savvy guy, I can recognize at least some or find free, cheaper solutions for these marketing-induced needs. It's crazy how people get tricked into needing stuff. My iPhone XR is now 4 years old and still doing its job nicely. Battery capacity has suffered a bit, and it has some cracks in the back cover. When this starts to be a problem, I will repair it can do by myself. When it really dies, I'll most probably buy a Fairphone for an even longer lifetime and much easier to repair when broken. When in need of more storage, I took this as a chance and cleaned out all the useless stuff. And I found a free way of streaming all my private music from a cloud. At first, I really thought about buying a new phone, because that would have solved this for a while, but with my knowledge, I was able to find more sustainable and cheaper solutions. Story 7. The ultra-thin 1-ply budget toilet paper. Today I was trying to unspool a wad, but that cheap garbage rips by the weight of 3 squares alone. In my frustration, I began furiously unwinding an excess amount and hit the string on my hoodie in the process, causing it to fly up and hit me in the eye with the metal tip. Now I need to go to work with only one working eye for the rest of the day because someone bought the cheap stuff to save a few dollars. Story 8. A SiriusXM subscription thinking the Howard Stern show is going to get good again. Never had XM but got a new car that was capable and started getting calls and letters from them every few days. Do people seriously pay over $20 a month for that? Spotify is like half the cost. XM is nice, but there is no way I would pay over $5 a month for it. The only time it was worth it for me was when I drove through a lot of small towns for work. Cell reception was spotty, and I'd always forget to download playlists, so XM was great. I also was only paying like $5 mo or less though. Story 9. Donating to big YouTubers when they live stream, for the feeling of someone popular saying your name. Big name content creators are heroes for a lot of kids today, and they feel and in some ways are more relatable and reachable than traditional stars such as actors and athletes. So of course kids will do whatever they can to try to get noticed by them, especially if they don't yet understand the value of money. Parents need to do better explaining the nature of these relationships to their children. And if creators want to be taken seriously, they need to understand their audience and the influence they have. They need to consider whether some of their monetization methods are just scams targeted at children. Story 10. In-app purchases in games. Agreed, and I don't do this anymore. I used to pay maybe $5 a month to upgrade this or that in a game I play on my iPad. Although back in the 80s, I paid more in one sitting playing arcade games at the bowling alley. Overall, I spent more money at the arcade when I was a kid. I mean, I'll do it occasionally. For example, I regularly play Rocket League. It's a free game. There's literally no harm in me paying $5 a month, $60 a year for some items. Or $5 every other month. Sometimes I spend no money. I play a bit of Warzone as well. Last week, I spent the first $20 on the game after 3 years of playing the game. There is a problem if you're spending $10 minus $20 a week or buying a ton of trash a day. My rule is to never exceed the cost of what the game would be if it were to be sold at purchase in 1 year. So I would never spend more than $50 minus $60 on in-game purchases in a year. Story 11. Huge weddings. Why drop $50 $100K? Why drop that much money on an event? Yes, the memory is important, but some folks drop ridiculous amounts on the perfect, even when a much smaller one would be more intimate and not bankrupt. I have actually fallen out with a friend, now wife, over this. They were already in debt, and when my friend proposed, she started planning a ridiculously over-the-top wedding that would have been £30,000, claiming it had always been her dream. Meanwhile, she had not saved. Her parents hadn't saved anything for this dream, so she expected they'd take out a loan and load up the credit card. I literally turned to them when they explained the plan and said, "Why would you do this for a day when you want to buy a house and have kids within the next few years?" She got very upset and said it was her dream to have big wedding. I said it was irresponsible to go into so much debt for a single-day celebration. In the end, they split the difference and still spent something like $15K on the wedding because they couldn't get a loan due to their other credit card debt at the time was something like $12K. They did the classic get another card and max it out. They are now having a kid and are constantly complaining about how much money they have to spend. Story 12. Cigarettes. Smoking in general. You literally burn your money. I agree. As a smoker for more than 20 years, I'm in the process of quitting. From 6 a day, I'm down to 1 or 2, and some days nothing. And it's amazing how much you can actually save. Cigarettes are expensive AF and give you nothing good in return. I hope I can reach my goal. Edit. Wow. I never expected this kind of support. Thank you very much for everyone's encouraging words. Now I'm even more motivated into quitting. And yes, it's been difficult, but I know it'll be worth it in the end. But I've started to notice already an improvement in my health. I get less tired when going upstairs or walking or running, and now I feel really bothered by the smell. Thanks again, Edit 2. Hey, once again, thanks for the encouragement. I have news. I've been smoke-free for a week now. It may not be that much yet, but to me, it's a huge accomplishment. I smoked my last cigarette last Saturday and I didn't buy more to avoid the temptation. And I've been fine. In fact, I've already noticed my skin is softer, also my hair. Been smoke-free is great, and quitting was just out of the question a few months ago. Sometimes I make poor decisions, but quit smoking. It's been one of the best decisions I've ever made. Story 13. Very unpopular opinion alert. Vacations to kid-centered places with kids too young to appreciate them. Edited, taking a 1- and 2-year-old to Disney, for example. It's an expensive trip that they are not old enough to appreciate. I'm not talking about older kids and toddlers going as a family, or that parents don't want to hang with their kids. My comment was limited in scope to parents who bring a very young baby or toddler to an extremely overpriced destination before they were old enough to recognize and appreciate the trip. Story 14. Insurance brokers. I'm sorry, but anyone with internet access and 15 minutes to spare doesn't need to hire an insurance broker to handle it for them. I learned this lesson the hard way because my dad has one, and I figured it was part of being an adult. After the first year, my mortgage payment went up by $200 a month. I looked into it, and it was because I had a negative balance in my escrow account after the home insurance premium came out, so I needed to pay that back plus the adjustment for next year. The premium was a lot higher than I had paid previously, so I did a quick quote online to see if the rates had all just gone up, and they were about $1 less. I called my insurance broker, and he got pretty huffy about how he can't just do an online quote, he has partnerships he has to go through. I said, well, I just don't see why I'd pay you to get me a policy that's $1,000 million soarer than the one I could get on my own. He responded that he's been in this business for 20 years, and that's the rudest thing anyone has ever said to him. I simply replied, please close my account. Story 15. I will get a lot of flack on this, but I want to be honest, and this is just my personal opinion. Bitcoin. Think about it. Anyone with enough backing can start a cryptocurrency. It has rules to make it scarce. However, once the last Bitcoin is mined, no one is stopping another entrepreneur to market another Bitcoin wannabe. It has no practical use due to wild fluctuation of price. It touts itself as a rebel currency, as it is not regulated by any government. However, that very government helps stabilize the currency by using fiscal policy levers on money supply. It has been more than a decade, and people are still not spending in terms of Bitcoin. Everyone is still focused on its dollar equivalent. If you are thinking of your Bitcoin now, you are not thinking I have 14 Bitcoins. Instead, you are thinking I have over $500,000 USD of Bitcoins. Don't confuse it, blockchain technology is useful. Cryptocurrency is just like NFT. A lot of organizations are still spending marketing dollars to hype Bitcoin, but it was a failed social experiment. When Bitcoin stops being mined and its price becomes $1 trillion, people that can't afford it will simply choose not to participate and live their lives normally. The same cannot be said for currency, since you need money to pay for food, etc. It has always been a case of someone invented something, and now people are trying to find practical use for it, since the original intent, which was to exchange goods on the internet without using currency, did not materialize because of the swing. I know this is an unpopular opinion in this time and age, but I guess I am an old fart, and unless the world flips upside down with a revolution, it is difficult to find practical use for BTC other than a way to park money with the hope of riding the upswing and cashing out before the next crash. Disclaimer, my brother-in-law got in on it back in 2010, and my sister bought it at $100. My family bought it at $1,000, but I never really understood its fundamentals, hence I didn't participate. Alright folks, that's a wrap. If you like this, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. You can also share your those in the comment below.